Hello and welcome to Real Safety, Emergency Decision Making. What happens when you lose a critical system? You're sitting safely in an out-of-ground effect hover at 1,000 feet while the camera operator focuses in on the traffic accident below in the hope of getting a good story for tonight's news, when out of the blue the hydraulics give a kick and you feel a big jolt through the controls. The attitude of the aircraft changes and you quickly start to descend. What actions should you take? What is most important? What does the Rotorcraft Flight Manual, the RFM, say? What should you do first? This real safety video will try and address these questions and offer some guidance and tips on how to safely deal with loss of a critical system or even the loss of a non-critical system that can distract and create a situation where you lose another critical system. The first tip is don't rush into making a poor decision. Where there may be a better one, even with an engine failure, you still may have more time than you think. Let's look at an acronym that may help slow you down so you don't make the wrong choice and make the situation worse. Something that follows a logical order. RCDI: recognize, control, diagnose, and initiate. Some will have used RCDI to describe the rate of climb and descent indicator, but some of you will also know this as a VSI. But let's break this down a little. R, recognized. What has happened? Do I know? Maybe? But don't guess or make a quick assumption. Flying with passengers or other crew? Warn them verbally with a symptom, not the diagnosis. Control malfunction or torque split or caution light, for example. C, control. Control the situation. Move the controls to keep the aircraft out of danger. Achieve a safe flight configuration. Best indicated airspeed for single engine flight, or fly below max hydraulic outspeed, for example. D, diagnose. Okay, now that we have the aircraft under control, let's see what went wrong. If you have time and your aircraft has FRCs, flight reference cards, with an emergencies section, now is the time to get them out. If not, run through the situation and determine what happened and which systems failed and why. What are the implications? Use your crew and keep your passengers up to date. I, initiate. What are we going to do about this? Look for somewhere to land or start a diversion to another location. Make a radio call. Do I need to make a distress call, a PAN or a Mayday? Have I followed my instructor's advice to aviate, navigate and then communicate? Initiate or continue the descent and pick up a good place to land. Let's get the aircraft and its contents safe. So we're in a safe flight configuration. What next? What does the RFM say about landing? What does land immediately mean? Each manufacturer will define these actions in different ways, so you're best to follow their advice for the aircraft that you fly. But let's look at some generic definitions. Land immediately. Continued flight may be more hazardous than ditching or landing in terrain normally considered unsuitable. Land as soon as possible. Land at the nearest site at which a safe landing can be made. And land as soon as practical. Extended flight is not recommended. but the landing site and duration of flight are at the discretion of the aircraft commander. Remember that if you need to move critical controls, especially in an emergency situation, you should always take your time making sure you are holding the right one. If you're part of a crew, make sure you use them to confirm the switch or lever using this memory aid. 3 Ds. Diagnose, double check, and do. There have been many occasions where the pilot has shut down the good engine or switched out the working system. Stop, think, check, and make sure. No matter how urgent you think the emergency situation is, you should always be able to follow this simple RCDI sequence. Obviously, some situations will need you to process through the sequence quicker than others, but if you stick to this routine, you're far more likely to make the better choices and keep the helicopter, its crew and passengers safe. Remember that it is important to always follow the advice and procedures laid down in your aircraft OEM manual or handbook. Pilots will improve their chances of making the right decision if you regularly rehearse your actions to unique situations from within the cockpit. So in summary, don't rush, think RCDI, recognise the symptoms and warn the crew and passengers. Control and contain the aircraft and get it into a safe flight configuration if possible. Diagnose, use your flight reference cards. Aviate, navigate, and then communicate. 3 Ds, identify and confirm all critical controls and switches before taking action, and initiate, tell somebody, land safely and appropriately as guided by the RFM. Thanks for listening, fly safe and keep it in the green.